Well, while we've got economic data coming through painting a not too optimistic picture in terms of the pace of recovery and the recovery that we're seeing locally, it seems that consumer confidence is indicating something altogether different. I mean, are we seeing rises across the board in terms of what the survey actually surveys?
Absolutely. The survey looks at 5 indicators and asks banked consumers their opinion on how they think they will be going forward in the next 6 months. So it's a forward-looking survey. We talked to them about the economy, about employment, regular income, the stock market and quality of life. And across the board we saw rises in all 5 of those indicators. So a very positive sentiment looking forward.
To what extent has it come as a surprise, the fact that the South African consumer is so optimistic?
Well, according to our independent economic advisor, Dr. Botha, Rolf Botha, it's not that surprising when you look at the fact that we are now actually 7 quarters out of a recession. And his view is that perhaps it's taken people a little while who have been shocked by the recession to come through and start feeling positive again. And actually in the first quarter of 2011 we had our 7th successive quarter of growth. So actually the signs are very positive if you look forward, and it's nice that consumers are starting to feel more comfortable with that.
Well, what's actually very glaring for me is the fact that the most significant increase in optimism compared to the previous index came from the employment indicator, which saw a jump of 15.2 points from a score of 48.6 6 months ago. It's currently sitting at 63.8. What's driving the optimism there? Because certainly that employment scenario in South Africa and job prospects haven't gotten any better.
Well, according to our independent economic advisor, there has been an improvement in terms of formal sector employment creation. So the SA Stats, the last quarter's results, showed a return to formal employment creation within the sector. And if you look at subsectors such as business, financial services, professional services, you are seeing a return to employment in those sectors, which will have a direct impact on these banked individuals being surveyed.
So really what we've got to take into consideration is who exactly is being surveyed here, because on the lower end of the wage bill, with all the industrial action that we're seeing play itself out, you know, while wages may rise, business concedes business will have to cut costs, you know, somewhere down the line, and more often than not, that mechanism is via job cuts, right?
Interesting, yes. I mean, I think if you look at the regular income index, which is at its the most optimistic of the indexes that you see, again, Rolf comments that the purchasing power of South African households has reached a record high. And I think that's what the consumer sentiment is reflecting, that these people who are between sort of 16 and 64, they're banked, and they are seeing that they have more income, they've had more credit extended to them, and their quality of life is improving.
Where are they spending? Are they becoming a little bit better at managing their wallets and managing that disposable income, where we know that still we've got that income to disposable, debt to disposable income ratio sitting significantly high here in South Africa?
We've seen a really large jump in expenditure on durable goods, so 22% increase compared to the previous year. So it is credit style spending that is taking place.
Okay, so credit start spending, and that boding well for the retailers, not just yet, to bear in mind that this is, looking forward 6 months. It'll be interesting to hear certainly what the sentiment is like on the broader economy. So let's run through some of that, because that's another indicator that the survey looks at.
Yes, so we did see that people broadly saw an increase in the economy, about an 11.4 percentage points increase. So saying that when they look out forward 6 months, they do expect the economy to improve. And I think that again is pointing to these 7 successive quarters of positive increases and 7 quarters out of recession. So when we spoke this morning and when we launched the index, Dr. Botha commented that a lot of people, this is the first recession they've been through, and it's been quite a shock. So even though we have been out of recession for some time, people have been slow to recognize that fact.
There's of course a consumer confidence survey that's run in the Asia Pacific region, Middle East, and then Africa as well. So how do our confidence levels compare to some of the confidence levels in the other territories where the survey is run?
It's very interesting. There's quite a difference between the oil-producing economies and the non-oil-producing economies. And again, Dr. Botha has commented that South Africa has actually shown the largest increase in consumer confidence of the non-oil-producing economies. So South Africans, broadly speaking, more confident compared to that peer group.
One of the things that stood out as well is that we've got quality of life. That is one of the indicators. What's the thinking around quality of life? What exactly are you measuring there?
So again, it's a question to the consumer. Do they feel their quality of life will improve, stay the same, or become worse over the next 6 months? So it's a qualitative response from the consumer. How are they feeling their quality of life will be? Again, Dr. Botha comments that it's very hard to measure from a quantitative perspective quality of life. What makes people feel better or worse about the quality of their life? He points to the employment indicator as potentially being a strong driver for that. So people who have been out of work and returned to work are likely to feel a lot more positive about the quality of their life looking forward.
From your perspective, what's the thinking around sustainability of a rising trend in consumer levels? Because we know that sentiment gets hit very easily, and of course, you know, a lot can happen. But in terms of the indicators now, what's it saying about sustainability of a trend like this?
So most of if you look at the indicators that Dr. Botha was examining, the largest highest household income is the one that really stands out. So an average now household disposable income of 33,000 Rand has gone up massively in the last 10-15 years. And that, I think, talks to an overall rise in quality of life to a large proportion of the survey respondents.